the early beginnings of his life, and we had talked about how he was born, and everything seemed just perfect, and perfect pregnancy and all of that. And so share with us what the next 2 years looked like.
So he developed very slowly. He never babbled. He was really slow to crawl, really slow to walk. And, being the youngest of 6 children, you kind of clue in, something's not right. And his pediatrician kept saying, he'll be okay, he'll be fine. He's just developing a little bit slower. But as a mom, there's something different there. So I took him to a neurologist. They did an MRI. They found, a couple little things, but nothing significant. And then I contacted Kids on the Move, and they came in, and his speech therapist, I was talking about how clumsy he was. He was always falling, hitting his head, some other things. And she said, those sound like they might be seizures. You need to go back. So we went back, and the neurologist did the EEG, and sure enough, he was having seizures. He was globally delayed developmentally. So we took him to a geneticist, and after years of testing, fighting with insurance for different testing, we finally had a diagnosis that he had a very rare genetic condition, 1 in a million. And so not a lot of answers because they don't know a lot about it. His official diagnosis when we received it was MRX98. They kind of are straying away from that a little bit more and calling it XLID 98, just because the MR is mental retardation, and they're trying to move away from that term.
It's so rare we don't really know what to expect. We assumed, based on information we had, that he was going to be with us for life. So that changes your perspective quite a bit as well, because you normally think that the kid's going to grow up and move out, and you're going to have an empty nest and whatnot. But now we have to kind of shift how we think about all of that stuff. And it was just really the uncertainty of everything. We didn't really know how things were going to go, or
as far as moving towards going to school and things like that. What has he been involved in or participated in, and what have been some of your small kind of milestones that you've worked towards, from going from a toddler to maybe a 10-year-old or 12-year-old?
I think one thing that has helped a lot, or we've seen a lot of improvement in, is sign language. When he was younger, we would always try and teach him a sign for something. He doesn't have great coordination, so he can't, make in-depth signs, but he can make global signs, and he kind of makes up his own signs for different things. But when he was younger, we used to, try and teach him a sign for something, and he would get that down, and then you'd try and teach him a new sign, and then he would just use the new sign for everything. And, you're at one point is he ever gonna be able to communicate in some fashion? But now he's at a point where he remembers. And in fact, he'll remember and he'll do a sign. I'm like, oh, sign. I don't remember what that one was.
You have to reteach me that.
Yes.
I forgot that.
Yes. One. Yeah, we have to go back and look them up and see what it is. So I think that is one thing for me that has been really encouraging to see. Okay, he's making progress there. He loves his siblings. He loves to do anything that they will do with him. He loves to throw a ball with them, jump on the trampoline. Yeah, anything. He just loves to be around his siblings.
You've had respite for about 4 years now, and how has that impacted your life with our respite services?
It's been huge. Just like I mentioned earlier, it's a night where we know he's safe. We know he isn't having a great time. He loves it. I have to be very careful when I tell him it's respite night, because if I tell him too early in the day, that's all I hear. He's like, go, go, go. I'm like, we're going to go in a little bit, in a little bit, in a little bit. He's so excited to come. And we've gone and done things just as a couple. We've gone and done things as a family, bowling, the ball game, a movie. And it's just nice to all be there together, and somebody doesn't have to leave to go with Kale. When we do things as a family, that's how somebody always has to leave and go follow Kale and separate themselves from the group. And we love Kale. I feel like this is kind of we'll talk
more about the love part here soon.
But it's nice just so we can all sit and just relax and know that he's safe, and know that we can have a good time, and that we're not going to have to clean up a mess when we're done. And so it's just such a huge relief.
If you knew that Kel could understand every word that you would say, what would you want to tell Kel and want him to know?
Just how much we love him. Sometimes I wonder how much he does understand. Sometimes you think he doesn't understand what you're saying, and then sometimes you'll say something and he will respond in a way that you're like, oh, I think he gets more than what we think he does, But even though he's hard, I want him to know I wouldn't trade him for the world. I don't want to fix him. I don't want to change him. That I love him just how he is, and that he is, he's everything to us, I would just want him to understand that.
I don't think I could add to that, to be honest. That's pretty much what I would, echo what she said. I would just want him to know that, we value him, we love him just as he is. I love his sense of humor. And, it's funny because he does little funny things that show that sense of humor. And, I just love his little personality.
Yeah.
If a donor was considering donating to Kids on the Move and helping our programs, help us acquire a new building or land, services, or expand respite capacity and what could be offered for families, what would you say to a donor?
I would say donate. These are life-changing programs for families. It couldn't go to a better cause. These kids deserve everything. They didn't ask for this. They didn't ask to be born the way that they were born. They didn't ask for these challenges. Families didn't ask for these challenges, but it's something that we have to overcome. And, like my husband said, people will always say, oh, you're such a saint. And I said, I do what I have to do. You would do the same thing. You would do what you have to do. But services like Kids on the Move make doing what you have to do easier. It provides a break. It provides some help. It provides respite. So I would just encourage them that this is an amazing facility, amazing programs, and that their money could not be better spent.
We value it more than we can put into words, or at least more than I can put into words, because it's literally the thing that we look forward to. I mean, it's the break that we need to recharge our batteries, to feel like, we can go another week and go another month and keep going at it. And it's been so incredibly beneficial, to us that, I literally, I can't put into words how grateful I am for the program.
And even from the very beginning, when his speech therapist told me, this sounds like seizures, go get this checked out. And the fact that service was provided to us for free, he was our 6th child. We still had a bunch of little kids, money was still tight. And if we'd had to seek out services on our own, I don't know that we would have done that, or that we could have afforded that. And so having them come into our home at that time for free, and her expertise in, you need to go have that checked out, made a world of difference. I don't know how long we would have gone before we figured out that those were seizures or that he needed to be checked out.